Hey, I'm Lee Reedy. This song's about Oasis drinks.
I'm selling notes, singing this song. Your liquid loving stops it feeling wrong. I sold my soul to the marketing team, but the money's good and the Oasis drinks are free. Oasis, it's hashtag fresh stuff. Oasis, buy a bottle 'cause the just ain't enough.
Kick off your summer of music with Hobgoblin Legendary Beer and Mischief aplenty. Something new is about to come alive, and it's coming to Birmingham. Turn the volume up to full and get ready for the testiest gig of the year. This May, Hobgoblin bring you Palace and Shanghai Blues at Mama Roo's in Birmingham. Click the banner now to enter the competition and you could be there. Tune in and turn up with Hobgoblin Legendary Beer.
See Drink Aware for the facts.
Hello, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hello everyone who's watching. Right, so I'm working on turning my audio down. There we go. So I'm working on a tile map generator, and I'm at the stage where I'm sort of filling in larger areas with new tiles. So this might be a battle room or something. So what I can do is I can turn that off. So make rooms. So this is kind of what it does, and it matches around, then places the walls in at the end. But you'll see here there's like 9 tiles, and there's 9 tiles there as well. I've got this issue at the moment where if I turn that back on, yeah, it like places it down, deletes the wrong ones and stuff like that. So I'm in the middle of the process of getting that working, and then once that works, we'll be all good, and we'll be moving on to doing things like rooms of 4. We might test for like straights, like rooms of 3 wide and stuff like that, and start doing conditions and events on that. And then once that works, what the general idea will be to allow people to generate dungeons and sort of like define what those rooms will be, stuff like that. So there's a couple of cool things with this. If I turn that make rooms thing off, you'll notice it's like seeded at the moment, so it's always going to generate the same one. If I turn the seed off, it now just generates it however it wants, and it also makes sure that there's always a critical path. So it started in the middle here somewhere, and you can go down to the right, down to the left, and it ended down in this room over here on the left. So we can go up and round and then down again. And then originally this room was just an open square, so it's plopped a wall in there for us. There's a couple of other cool things that we can do with this at the moment. So we've got weighted directions. So if I only want this or if I want this dungeon to mainly move up and down, and then there's 10% for it to go to the right, it will now mainly generate like. The problem is it's not weighted correctly. There we go. So now it's mostly an up and down sort of generation that we're coming up with. So it's going to be pretty useful for making your own levels. You can also change this number of tiles to like 500 if you really wanted to, and it will just go and generate us a massive dungeon. At the moment this is all just based on single grids. At some point I'm going to be doing corridors and different sized rooms and stuff like that. So that's made a pretty cool dungeon. And then we might change this now to say there's only 10% chance for it to go up and down, but 40% chance and 40% chance for it to go left and right. So now it's going to do more of a horizontal sort of generation. And there's a couple of other options as well. Like at the moment, I believe this is set to maintain directions. So if it can't go in a certain direction, it will just keep checking until it can. So if we turn maintain direction off, what you usually end up with is more of a clump. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's now sort of like just walking around in random directions every single time. So every time it misses, it chooses to go left, down, right, or up again. It's a lot slower because essentially there's a chance that it will constantly cast within this grid for a long time, and it will just stick in here. I might actually need to catch that happening and force it to maintain a direction after a certain number of times, because otherwise you'll just end up constantly looking around an area like a clump like this. But the way this works is if I possess, I'll be able to just keep running around this for quite a while. It hasn't generated the walls yet because the algorithm hasn't finished in the background. There we go. So it's finished now, and the walls have popped in. So I'll be able to keep going, and the idea is these are all blueprints, so you'll be able to define like where enemy spawners are, where score might be and stuff like that. This is obviously like a really sort of childish tile map that I'm using from Kenny Assets, but I believe we might actually be stuck down here, so we need to get back out. Can I go up? Let's check if we can get out of this room here. There we go. So now we're on a higher layer, and if I press F8 and zoom in on my dude, we are around here somewhere. There I am. So I'm in that room there at the moment, sort of looking at us. Hello. So yeah, I could keep running through here, but it will get pretty boring. And the idea is as well that we can just keep adding new customized tiles to these, and we just edit the tiles as normal. So I could just change this tile now. But I'm not happy with this. It's not letting me jump up in the right way, and just edit it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so who's watching? Who can I say hello to? Right, I'm going to carry on. Where was I? So, we're in this checker, and basically what it does is it looks at tiles in a 9 grid around the selected tile. So if I turn all this stuff back down, tell it to only generate 25 tiles, we'll do it at even distribution of directions, and we'll use a seed. So if I spawn that, should give me the same one I had earlier. Must have had a different algorithm before. Oh yeah, it was 15, 15, 30, 30. Is that going to work? 60, 30, that's 90, so... No. That's 80. Okay, so 35, 35. Right, that'll do. So we've got a couple of potential areas for a 9 tile to spawn. And what that basically means is when I loop through all of these and I start checking here, 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 and in a 9 grid, every time we miss, it's going to say, now we can't spawn 9 here. But when it gets to this tile, it will check this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile. And eventually it will complete and say, okay, well, delete all of those and replace. In fact, no, it always traces down to the bottom right, so it will miss at these points and it won't work. So here it will work, here it will work, here it will work, and here it will work. But what we want it to do is do that check, then delete them. So if I turn make rooms on, let's see what happens. Okay, so it's worked, but it spawned it in the wrong place. So it spawned it down at the bottom. And really it should have spawned it here. And then I need to double check and make sure that it's not spawning walls in, and it needs to spawn walls like up here. Alright. This is troublesome because that location should have been fine. Should have been fine. So what we're doing is we're grabbing it, we're then clearing the 9 tiles which we might remove. We're saying that we automatically can place a 9 tile, and on the event that we can't do that, it breaks the loop and completes, and then asks a question about well, it says basically, can we still do that? Basically, over here is where it fails and breaks. Like, if it ever breaks, it says it can't place it, and then this will never go through. It'll always be false, and it won't be able to delete those. And then it goes on to the next loop. So it breaks this loop and comes back here and loops to the next tile and does the same check. So what it also does, maybe what I need to do is bring this up here. See what happens if I do that. No, it still places it 2 tiles too low. So that sworn location is fine. Let's change it to a 9. Actually, yeah, it's here. So change this to a 9. Ah, they're on grids of 8. Okay, fingers crossed that works. So let's place it at the bottom right again. Oh, that must mean, okay, so we're actually tracing up and to the right then. Okay, well, I understand what the error is there then. So now, change that back to 24. This is all not customizable at the moment, but it will be customizable and it'll be awesome. Hello, other 3 people. How are you all doing? This is my first stream, by the way, so awkward talking. Awkward turtles. So I'm casting, yeah, here it is. So that Z should be -1. And now that will work. That will work. This is the one. There we go. And then it's going to place the walls in a sec. So what's happened is oh, okay, I think I might know partly what's happened. On these, it's casting here, and it's saying, well, it's not hitting a collider. Or is it hitting a collider? So basically this should have, you'll notice on these, they have this sort of like collider level. If I press Alt-C. It doesn't seem to have worked. Got a construction script on those. So, and of course the other one isn't going to work because the construction is not doing a construction script based one. What I need to do is jump into my grids, tell the construction script on this to make the Y like 5,000 or something, and then we'll see if that's actually working. Oh, it's just spawning paper tile map actors. Why are you spawning paper tile map actors? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, the walls are completely broken in this case. What I'm going to do is turn off make rooms, because I know that that's in. Whatever I've done here is breaking it. There we go. Okay. So if I go to this grid tile, what this is basically housing just a box collider that I trace against in the grid tile channel. So when I'm testing for directions in which to put walls, if there's a tile underneath this one, it will hit this like floating box, and nothing else. Like nothing will ever interfere with it because it's on its own little channel that I've made. So, okay. So, what we need to do is double check that this works for a start by changing the tile map. So the construction script should run as soon as I change this. Yeah, so you see how that grid has changed size now? So that's good, because we want that to happen, and we also want these to be visible for testing purposes. So box, hidden in game, false. So we'll be able to see that when I'm spawning them in. And I'll just change this back to exit bottom, and not actually using that tile. Oh, it's got some sort of error. What's your issue? Save everything. Open the event graph. Compile. Okay. Yeah, so I know one of the reasons why this isn't working, because it relies on the fact that that collider is there, but I kind of hacked it in. This just spawns a paper tile map, so it actually needs to spawn a grid basic tile and then set its tile map, or rather get its tile map. Get the paper tile map, set tile map, and then it's going to use that same one there, so it's going to be the 24. And then hopefully as that changes, set color. No. Set color. Okay. The reason I'm setting these colors is so that I can debug it, basically. So now that should spawn in, and it should have a collider. So, oh, we're not going to see it happen, are we? Because I haven't turned the rooms on. But just double check, I can see those little collision tiles, so that's good. Hello, Piotr. How you doing? How do I pronounce that? Blonsky. Is that Polish? My my mother's maiden name is Madorski. And my brother, well, yeah, he took the mother's name. Got Polish blood. I shall attempt to shipka, as my mum always said. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Basically, I want to get this done by the end of the week so I can put it on the marketplace. Let people, well, hopefully Epic will sort of like look at it and say this is suitable or not, and then I can make it better or keep it as is and then put it on the marketplace, and then start doing updates where it's going to be working and finished hopefully by the end of the week. And then from then on, if it has any interest and people give me feedback and stuff and start using it, then I will start implementing those changes. But if it doesn't go well, and it was essentially it's good practice, but it's going to have wasted me a lot of time on making video games. I'm working on some VR games at the moment. Right, so make rooms, press play. Cool. Place some walls. Alright. So the wall generator is not having a good day. And the reason for that, if you see here, look. It's, yeah. It's casting and then it's missing here. And it's kind of going, okay, well, place a wall. Because that construction script hasn't grown the size of the collider, so hopefully, fingers crossed, my code works. And if we make this happen on begin play instead, in fact, we'll do it in both scenarios. We'll collapse this to a function called set grid trace box size. I will do it there and in the construction script. Cool. So now, I'm hoping that's not going to happen. I know, because look, it's still... Okay. So maybe the problem is it's getting it as it spawns, and I'm not going to be able to change that. unless the construction script runs, and I can give this a variable called my tile map. If the construction script runs before the other code and I set the tile map there, so I'm guessing the problem is basically is sort of like needs a delay, and I don't want to have any meaningless delays, so this is going to be a tile map reference. It's going to be editable and exposed on spawn, so that as it spawns in, the first thing it does before it gets the map size is actually sets that map. So take this set map and we'll set it to this new tile map, and then we'll get the size of it. So what that means is there's a couple of places now where I'm going to have to change a bunch of code. So I don't need this anymore, which is nice, because now it's just in the spawn dialog, so that's going to be the 24. And hopefully that works, but the problem is the grid generators are going to be broken now because I've changed a thing. So let's go to max size dungeons. So actually in here it's not too much of an issue. I can just do that because what I'm doing is setting the tiles later on with the code and checking a bunch of what's called cellular automata logic, which is each one has a state. The state is essentially what tile it's rendering, and then from there you'll see a massive node network of spaghetti blueprints that basically tell it based on the direction it's trying to generate which one it should and shouldn't be, and if it runs back over itself and stuff, like it changes up. So hit play. Walls. Oh, why are you doing them there? Well, the positive is that the collider is now the right size. All of all of those are working, which is good. So file save all, and basically I need to go to my wall generator, so that's the room maker, that's the dungeon generator. Open up the wall maker, and in here got a little error log that basically tells you that you've done something wrong. This bit here, so for each direction we want to shoot in number of rays in each direction. Now this is there anyone watching? Yeah. So this is how I've been coding on post-it notes, trying to figure out how to fire these rays, because basically if you've got a 4x4 I can divide the desired width by the size of the new map. So this new map is, these are set up by 8, right? So this new map is 16, so 16 divided by 8, I know we've got 2 wide, and these are always uniform, so it's 2 to the side and 2 down. And that'll work then if it's 3 or 4 or 8 of these high or sideways. And then you basically trace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times all the way around to see if there's anything on the boundary, and if there isn't, then you just stick a wall there. In theory. Now it works on 8x8s, but it's not working on my 24x24. So if I read through this in the instance that it might be a 24x24, it's going to say for every basic grid tile, which Actually, yeah, now the 24 by 24 is a basic grid tile. Get the map, get its width. I'm actually gonna print it. But I'm only gonna print it if this is equal to, and it should be equal to 24, so we'll see. Only print to the screen if it's 24. Now I know we've got some other print strings happening somewhere, so there's one here, print to the display name. Like, I don't want any other chaff filling up my print string. So we've got two 24s there, so it is recognizing them, but then we get some errors. Access none, trying to read the property tile set from set grid trace box size in set tile. Now, why might that be? Oh, I know what that is. It's the grid generator. Where are you? So in the event graph, Spotify. I need actual Spotify. I don't have actual Spotify because I don't have funds. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be subjected to adverts. No one likes adverts. Well, I love adverts, to be honest, because it shows you things that you might not have known about. But generally, Spotify adverts are just trying to ask you to pay for Spotify, which is fine. I would do. And musicians. I usually listen to music on YouTube, but I'm currently streaming to YouTube, so I can't do that. Right, so anyway. Solving this problem. Well, the problem was that we had some sort of breakage, so let's have a look at that again. Oh, it's already happened? Happens as soon as it begins. Oh, well, I know what that is then. That is when it spawns the very first one. Yeah, so that will be over here. Yeah? Plus? There we go. Cool. Shoot. Yeah, I'll put a little delay in there so we can see it happen. What I need to do is stop my 9 tiles being green, because that's not helping me debug it. I need to rename some of these. Right, let's close these down. Okay, so that's the grid generator. This is the marching generator. This is the room maker. And this is the wall maker. Okay. So in the room maker, I need to stop it from changing the color. And also in the matching generator, I need it to not delay for 3 seconds. 1 second, you'll do. Right, play. Still there, Peter? I'm gonna call you Peter. Okay, so yeah, we can see what's going on there. Everything else works. Everything else works lovely. Might have a. I think I know what that is. It's the positions where it's spawning them. So it's spawning them based on the actor's location. So it's spawning all the. I reckon it's spawning like all the ones it needs, maybe like 6 or 7 of them, depending. But it's spawning them all at the active location. So what it needs to do is maybe spawn it here. Plus 20 in the Y, because reasons? Yeah, because the walls want to be in front of the tiles. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay, so close. Getting close. It's not brilliant. So I'm going to change the description here so you guys can see my game dev Twitter, because on there you'll see a bunch of past stuff that I did. So this is my current thing that I'm working on, or was working on over the weekend. I started it just before bed, and then the next morning I finished it, so I was pretty happy. This is awesome. It's a parallax occlusion doorway, the theme of Witcher 3, and it went really well. I had the project shared on my Twitter as well, so I'll copy my Twitter and I'll shove it into the description on this channel. My Twitter. I wonder if that updates on the fly. You'll have to let me know. Social media. So yeah, this is day 4 of my tile map editor. So this is what I did this morning. I got the walls to work, and now obviously I'm iterating on that to make it work for larger rooms. And then let's have a look at some of the older grid stuff. So this was day 2. This one's like marching through a grid, and it's based on like a Spelunky code thing, which is basically what I mentioned earlier. It's cellular automata, I think, which is like each tile has a state, and each next tile and previous tile will be affected by the state of the last and the next one, and the direction that you're going in and stuff like that. So pretty cool though. It just looks cool. It's good fun. People are gonna like it, I believe. I haven't seen it on the marketplace, so hopefully people will be like, that's helpful, thank you. And then they might say as well, can you do this? And I'll be like, I could probably do that. Messages. Okay, cool. So angle brackets are not allowed in. Oh, okay. Alright then. Let's fix this. Because this is a problem. So that one was supposed to be there. That one, not sure where that was meant to be. Oh, I guess maybe if we grab all of these and then move them like, whoops, damn it, and move them one down to the left. No. One down to the right? No. So basically there's no uniform answer to why that's broken. Wallmaker. So okay. Depending on the direction that you're spawning in, we need to offset it by a certain distance in a certain direction, and then spawn it. So okay. Yeah. So it's going to take me a minute. How's everyone doing, by the way? Because I can see a bunch of people watching. I don't know if people are just watching blueprints and muted me. That would be a shame. Right, so how do we do this, guys? Well, I know how I do it. This is going to take me Let's figure out. Basically, just need to offset those positions based on this logic here, which is all to do with the whole division of that tile. Because I'm actually spawning 8 by 8, and I don't want to have to spawn larger ones. So we can get rid of that print string. And then. Oh god. Brains. Okay. So this is giving us the right locations, right? Is it? Oh, I suppose there's one way to find out. Just debug it. Draw it for the duration and make sure we don't draw any of the room maker rays, because that would be confusing. Oh, notice that time it picked different tiles. It's pretty cool. Might need to change that duration. Bam. So I can't tell. That's not really telling me anything. One thing it might be telling me is that these rays are working correctly, but the 9 tile rays are not working correctly. Because what I should be seeing is a bunch of rays at the bottom there. Oh, I am. Okay. Okay. And it's not just the case of inverting them all, because that inverted is pretty useless. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to me scratching my head. So the thing about blueprints is it just takes a very long time to learn. I've done it for many years, but you'll always come across logic puzzles which are fun, and I'll generally crack it soon if I stop talking. No, this is only day 4, so we've got pretty far, and the walls work. They do work. If I turn that off, they work. Walls. Yeah, so they work on the 8 tiles. Interestingly, we're down here on this one. Let's double check if... Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense, because, yeah. So, let's move these out of the way. And yeah, there's going to be... Yeah. And then this one should have 3 tops, because there's 3 gaps at the top. It should have 3 rights. Oh. 3 right hand sides. Yeah. And no lefts. Should have no lefts. It's got 2 lefts. So we'll check that. No, that's not right. That one should never have any lefts, because it should hit each of these. Ding ding ding. It should say no. Let's double check this collision box. Yeah, the collision box is fine. What that means is that the raycasts are wrong when we get to larger numbers. What it potentially means is that we're casting rays like all the way out here. Yeah, see, look, we're casting rays all the way over here for this guy, I bet. I bet those rays that are well out the bounds are in the wrong positions. In fact, yeah, those 3 there should be here. And then these 2 should be 2 down as well. So what does that mean? What's the Z positions? The Z positions of my rays are off. For stats, might be more things to that. Let's have a look. Okay, so for each direction, do a squared number of casts, because it's gonna do 1 cast for each division. So these are 3x3s. So it's gonna say to the left, do 3 casts, and we're always going to do it at the actor's base location, and then we're going to add offsets, and the offset's going to be based on the direction. So for 0, we're going to the left, which means we're picking this one, and we want to do 3 casts to the left with each of their Y positions changing, which is where this comes in. So maybe that needs to be -1 for a start. And I think it's not going to work. Well, either way, we'll see if the casts are better. So there you go, the casts are better, and now this one's got no left-hand side walls. That literally might have been it for the casting issue. Now it's just to put them in the right position. Yeah, that's all, because you can tell, because it's like encroaching on all the edges. So a single number, it was you. Okay, I'm gonna have a break for literally like a minute, probably while I make a coffee. So when I get back, what we'll do is we will fix the position of the walls, and then test 4x4 grids and make the system a little bit more modular. And then once it works with multiple sized rooms, essentially what I'm calling rooms, once it works with multiples of those, I'll start adding some weighting to it. So as a designer of this dungeon, I can sort of say, well, there are never going to be big rooms, so the weighting of a 9 tile room is 0, but there are going to be lots of 4x4 rooms, so the weighting of those is 100%, or it could be 50-50. And then it might be quite interesting to switch up this. The way this is done here is it's squared, because we're doing it all by squares. So what I might do is set it up to do it by X's and Y's, so you can have rooms that are 2 tall and 3 wide, or 5 wide and 2 tall, and it'll check for the event of that happening. That would be pretty cool. That'll probably be tomorrow, but for now it's time for a break, so let's just hit play and then be right back.
Tomorrow's hits, the ultimate destination for future number ones. Hear them here first with this month's playlist, featuring the big tracks from Ed Sheeran, Clean Bandit, and Anne Marie. Tomorrow's hits, bringing fresh new tunes direct to you on Spotify.
Alright, I'm back. Hello. This kind of sounds like Street Fighter. Maybe. Maybe not. Alright, cool. I'm just enjoying looking at this actually generating stuff whilst listening to people ride their bikes really fast outside. Right, so cool. Cool. Right. The walls are wrong. So that's the room maker, this is the wall maker. Let's just save everything. All good. Right. So based off this bit of math here, we're going to move the walls. Yes. So originally what it does is it just places the bottom wall, the top wall, the left wall and the right wall all from the top left. So I need to offset this by a multiplication of its individual X and Y. Which means this might be a time to just do this anyway. So let's just do it on X and Y individually. Okay. So this is squaring it at the moment. And the way it's squaring it is by using the value down here. Because, yeah. So let's just put these back in here. And right. So this is pushing it around. So let's do it like that. And then what it needs to be is this had this. Because if it's 0, it's just not going to move. So the best place to check this is on this guy. Oh. Wow. Wow, we were. Okay. Well, that didn't work. Alright. Oh, of course. I was always doing it by 3. Maybe I shouldn't generate so many as well, because that's taking forever. Right, 25. Okay.
You know what your mates really want to see when they're packed into a train at rush hour? Selfies of you and the sunset.
Okay.
Better yet, send one of the sunrise too. And at midday,
So
and every time the sun moves across the sky.
yeah, this is offset to the left. These two are offset to the left. These two are offset to the left. Everything's offset to the left. Everything? This isn't offset to the left. This is just in the wrong place. Okay. So that doesn't really work as expected. So, okay. Got my coffee now. Coffee's good. Set to the position. It should really be based off of this. I mean, what happens if we just use this? Yeah? That works. So that is the equivalent of saying spawn it at the actor's location plus nothing, which would essentially be the 0, 0 multiplication of the tile map size. So let's say it's 50. So it'd be 0 times 50 multiplied by -1. So it'd be 0, so it doesn't matter. So maybe it's just add both of these. Maybe. Maybe it's this. Oh, so close. Now my issue there is that it's got one there, and I'm pretty sure that's another one there. That's the top one. That's fine. That's fine. Then there's another top one, and another top one, and another top one, and there's no bottom ones. Okay. Okay. Well, how many right-hand ones are there? So that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So if there is not a hit, we want to spawn something. Yeah, and that basically just says as long as we're not something that already has a wall there. Okay. This index should be based off the direction. Yep. My question is why that doesn't work. Because that's where the ray is. Oh, we've been here before. Yeah. I've fixed this once before. These are all inverted? Right, left, top, bottom. Oh. Yeah, we're spawning the entire things. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's spawning them. But I don't really like it, because it looks crap. Looks totally crap. Looks crap, guys. Maybe we just add this and remove that pin and set these back to how they were. Nope. Of course that's not going to work. That's what I want it to do. But then, if this is a 9 tile, we need to add x times 0, x times 1, x times 2. X times 0, x times 1, x times 2. looks good. I think I cracked it. Yay. Thank God. Hello people. You're my rabbit's foot. What's your name? I'll tweet you out. Yay. Oh God. It took me a good half an hour to figure that out. So, I mean, I don't like this Z fighting. So I'm like constantly adding another value to how far the walls are generated up. Cool, look at that. That's pretty. So then I can just possess. Why is there no wall there? Where's that? There is a wall there. Oh, I know what that is. So if I go to my character blueprint. So it'll be the distance that the camera is from. I mean, it's orthographic, right? But it's at what, 1024. So obviously the distance which that wall is generating is closer than this camera, I assume. So let's just set this camera to be like 5,000 units out, and then it shouldn't matter. It should always render. Oh, yeah. Oh, where are the walls? Why can't I see the walls anymore? Am I too far away from the walls? I forgot that changes how far away you actually are from it, because it's orthographic. So is it something to do with the near clipping plane? A far clipping plane, near clipping plane. Should be all good. So there's the walls, and I generate. I jump in. The walls are there. I can see them. They don't have collision. That's not good. Oh, I know why they. I know why that will be. I'll tell you what. Let's not generate these walls that high up. Let's still put them at 20. I think it. I have a theory. Possess. I think it's just in the viewport. It's just a viewport thing. Cool. Well, my hour and a half stream is up, so thanks very much, guys. I'll see you later.